So we'll do a C# template, and we will add a shape to the active drawing. This is C#, not VB. And to move the assembly for this add-in into a known location, we're going to add a post-build event, which uses a file. And this file is included with the SDK called install addin.js. And we'll just go to the post-build events and add our command, which is going to call into the file and then move it into My Documents, Shape App C#, App Add-ins, and then in a folder that is the same name as the assembly. So let's go ahead and build this. And if we go to our documents, we'll see that the App Add-in folder is there, and it includes the folder for the assembly for the add-in that we just created. Now that we have our project templates and an add-in created, we should modify the host to discover and load add-ins, and that will be our next step. To modify the host to discover and load add-ins, we're going to add a couple of classes, and these will be based on item templates that are available through sumsoft.com. And we'll also be adding the host type map provider, which was created when we created our proxy class. Then we'll need to modify the host to hook into these new classes so that it will load add-ins on startup and unload add-ins on shutdown. We'll return to the host project, leaving this add-in project open. Now we're going to add some classes to the host project, and the first couple are going to be based on item templates. First is the host item provider, and you'll see some instructions which say to replace the your entry point type with your entry point. In this case, it's the application class. Then we're going to add the VSTA runtime integration basic class. And again, we'll need to update some variables and types. So we go to the variables to update section, and again, we want to change this to the application type. And the next one is the startup class for add-ins. Now this was specified on page 3 of Project Gen for the host item name. And if we go to our add-in, we'll see that the startup class is app add-in, which matches the default, so that doesn't need to be updated. And then we want to change our add-in assembly location to search to match the location that the build event of the add-in project is moving the assembly to. And there's a lot of different ways that you can discover add-ins. This is just the SDK way, so we'll be using that approach. And the last class that we're going to need to add is the host type map provider, which was created by AutoProxyGen. And for that one, I'm going to change the namespace to match the host namespace. Okay, now that we've added the host item provider, the VSTA runtime integration basic class, and the host type map provider, we need to update the application class to use these new classes. I'm going to do that by adding an internal property. And then when we're starting up our application, which is done in the program class, we are going to create a new runtime library. and then we need to connect to it so that we can load our add-ins, and the connection method takes in our entry point item, in this case the application class. And when the host application is ready to shut down, of course we want to unload our add-ins, which is done through the disconnect method. Okay, so we have hooked up the new classes to the host. Let's build this and run. And we'll see that the add-in was loaded, and it added the shape with the index of 3 to the active drawing. So we instructed it to do here. So that is a complete basic VSTA version 2 integration. And again, that was accomplished in 4 steps. First, we created our proxy using auto proxy gen. Then we registered the host by adding registry entries and running VSTA setup. We used project gen to create project templates, and then we modified the host using both item templates and the host type map provider. If you're interested in more samples and demos, check us out on the web at www.sumsoft.com. The VSTA SDK documentation is also available at MSDN, the link listed. You can also contact Summit Software at vstasupport@sumsoft.com.